August 1st, 2022. You're listening to Oblast with Don and Kevin. I am Kevin.
Yeah. Hey, I'm Don.
We're back.
I never know what to say there.
First day of August. Tomorrow's like a voting day, I guess.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Some kind of vote.
Okay.
There's a voting thing. There's a sheet to fill out. So I think it's for like something important. Whole world is at stake. Life, everything. But how are you, Don? Did you quit your job?
Oh,
what? Donnie must have hit something. He, I don't know. He said, "Oh," and then he disconnected from the meeting. So we'll pause the show momentarily and see if he comes back here. I hope he didn't like lose his, maybe I lost my internet. I'm not sure, but hold on.
I got all excited and I put the X button on my Windows.
Oh.
I was like, oh, the big news. And I clicked the button and I just went, I just shut this off, didn't I?
That's okay. I've done dumb things like that too. So So then tell us, what is the big news?
Yeah, I did. I went in there Tuesday and
put in the 2 weeks.
I put in a 2 weeks notice and then everybody went crazy. Everything went crazy in that place. Let's just say by the end of the week, corporate was in there.
Really?
And they were talking to me like, listen, things are going to change. Everything's going to be better. We're getting this guy. He's going to stay away from you and not bug you guys. And you can just go back there and do your jobs like you want and how you want and stuff. And I'm like, oh, okay. And they said, so if you'll give us 3 or 4 weeks to institute these policies, they got a new manager guy coming in. There was a bunch of scandalous stuff going on. They had to suspend 2 showroom managers because they were pulling a scam of some sort, allegedly, of course. Because you're innocent until proven guilty, but it's like these 2 scumbags, they're guilty. So there was all kinds of stuff going on, and then I was in the middle of it. And the corporate guy's just like, I got this new manager guy coming in. He's going to be working with you guys exclusively. He's a great guy. He's a nice guy. Blah blah blah. I've met him a couple of times. I've been like, he's all right. It's nothing. The new guy, and he goes, so if you could give him 3 weeks and 4 weeks, I bet you this place will be right where you want it to be and everybody will be happy. And I just looked at him, I said, you got less than 2. So I how I like to be dramatic and stupid. So
yeah, that's hilarious. That's
yeah, but I might end up staying now. So
they told corporate they got less than 2. That's fucking great.
All right.
Good for you, man. Well, let's see what happens. But
yeah,
I did the Uber Eats thing.
Yeah.
I want to talk a little bit about it.
How did that? Did you sit around waiting, going, "Am I doing this right?" Just waiting for the order to come in? Because I did that.
Well, you've talked about it in the past, and a lot of things you say, I recalled. So I was listening, and one thing I got to tell everybody out there, it's rather important, and I want to just point this out to people. If you own a house, or maybe even an apartment, and you have an address somewhere on your freaking building or something, 2 things. First, make sure you can see it and it's large. And second, illuminate it, because it is ridiculous, man.
Isn't it dumb?
It is like listen, if you got an address on your mailbox and it's reflective, great. I'm driving, I'm looking at the mailboxes, I can see where you live. It's awesome. The GPS is pretty accurate, but it can be pretty hard when everything's all mashed together,
right,
to figure out which one is which.
Right.
And then these people have some cursive numbers that are about the size of a quarter, on their house in the darkness. And it's like, listen, I got to run multiple orders. I don't got time to be fucking around because the other guy's food's going to get cold.
Yeah.
So I am just, you're going to people, and this is only for the people that haven't checked their address. The rest of you are good. If your food ends up at somebody else's house, don't give me a bad review about it. I just got to guess at some point. I can't be walking around your yard with a fucking flashlight like a criminal to try to figure out what your damn address is. I can't believe it's 2022. Everybody's getting orders all the time. UPS, FedEx, shit like that. Regular postal service, Uber Eats and stuff. And these people have like terrible addresses, man. I went behind this place. You know, I went everywhere, by the way. But I went behind this place on Engel and Brook Park, right? It's like this apartment thing where like all the apartments are kind of in a line. They're all like right, you know, wall to wall, right next to each other. And you go around back, there's like an alley in the back, which is like a road. And all the addresses it's like pitch black. They're all unreadable. And they're like literally like a couple feet from away from the car. And you can't see him at all. And then there's just like one dude's thing. He has his address illuminated. Like, it's the craziest thing. Like, there's one address that's bright, not the one I was looking for.
Right.
Every other one is impossible to read. I had to pull the car over, get out, walk by a party, because there's always some garage party going on somewhere. Yeah. And try to figure out if it's this one or that. And I am like a foot away from the address. Like, what does this say? Like, I am bringing a flashlight from now on, but I'm just going to beam it out of the car. I hope nobody shoots at me. Because it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
It's almost as if they don't want their food.
I mean, you're not kidding. I totally did that thing you did. I went to this one house, no lights on. No front light, no side light. The thing says, leave the food at the side door. It is pitch black. I put the food down and took a picture of darkness and sent it to him. Like, there's your food. I hope you find it. Because it's ridiculous that you can't turn a light on for me or illuminate your freaking address.
Yeah.
But, no. So, like, the experience for me, okay, with Uber Eats, because I don't know how it differs from DoorDash, because I don't do DoorDash.
Right.
Is, you know, you turn it on and it starts looking for orders, right? And it says, you know, looking for orders. And then it's obviously scoped to the vicinity that you're in for the most part.
Right.
Right. So if you're near like a Red Lobster and an order comes in for Red Lobster, you have a pretty good chance of getting it because you're close to it.
Right.
But I think I'm also kind of low man on the totem pole. And so sometimes, you know, I'm sitting there for a while not getting any orders because other people are picking them up. That's understandable. Right. I get it. I'm fairly new. Then there's these other orders that come in that are ridiculous. Like, they'll say something like, go to Condado Taco, which is in the bottom of the county in the corner at Strongsville, right? On 82. And it's like, and take it to West 4th Street in Cleveland, which is by the lake at the top of the county. And you'll get like $15. And it's like, no.
Right.
Right. Because I'm going to have to drive that back. Right. So it's going to be like an hour or more of driving for $15. Now, somebody might be like, well, that sounds pretty good. It's not, because that $15, you know, you're going to pay for gas, or in my case, maybe some electricity for the car. You're putting wear on the car. And then at the end of the day, you were still going to pay taxes on this at the end of the year. So it's going to work out to like, you know, $10 or something. I mean, maybe better than that. But the point is there's still a lot of fucking around, and you got to go into like the shitty part of Cleveland, you know. Right. Plus any of that like teens, low 20s streets in Cleveland means I'm probably going to end up at some hotel or something in the city, which is a nightmare, right? Because there's no free parking. And, you know, I'm by myself, so I'm going to just roll up on the sidewalk or something and go walk into a place like a hotel.
Yeah. It's double park.
You have to. I mean, I did deliver to the DoubleTree downtown, which I didn't know where it was, and the GPS didn't know where it was either. So it was a struggle to find that guy and give him his food. And then some of them I don't know how the algorithm works exactly, but like the single orders, and this, let me just point out, like, I'm not an expert at this right now. So there may be a way to do this right. I'm just not sure what it is. Okay. So on the Uber Eats thing, you know, it's looking for orders, and then a little map pops up, right? And it shows you a dollar figure of what you will probably make. It's not exact. It's basically saying, this is the money that you'll probably make with the tip, but the customer has an hour to go in and edit the tip after they receive their food.
Right.
So you could get less or you could get more, but I've yet to see that happen. And it shows a map, and it'll sometimes have a little number there, like a 2, meaning it's 2 orders, but it doesn't show you the second order.
Yeah.
So you're like, all right, well, this one is, pick up something from Baskin Robbins, deliver it in Berea, right? Yeah. And it's like Baskin Robbins is in Middleburg, Berea is close by. That's okay. Okay, I'll do that one, right? I get that one, and then the other one's like, go pick up some chocolate chip pancakes at IHOP, right? That's it. Just one order of chocolate chip pancakes at IHOP, which is right there in Middleburg, pretty close to the Baskin Robbins. I'm like, all right. So I go and I drive to this Berea thing down on the west side of Berea. And when I get that one done, right, it says, okay, your next stop is in Elyria. Elyria, man. That is
far.
It's like 25 miles, man, from where I was. And it was crazy. I'm not even exaggerating. It's literally said this is going to take you 40 minutes to get to this thing. And I'm just like, what? Like, what? First of all, my mind is blown. Who needs chocolate chip pancakes 40 minutes away? It's going to be cold as shit by the time I get it to you. And they're not that good anyway. And can't you order from a place that's closer to you? Like, what is the deal with ordering? And so, like, I had to do it. I already had the food in the car. I can't give it up while I have the food in the car, right? I'm tempted to just eat the pancakes and be like, fuck you, I'm not doing this. But no. So then I had another one like that. Okay. I'm also in Berea. It's about 11 o'clock at night. It's for Papa John's, right? And I figure they have their own drivers, but whatever. And it was 2 orders, right? Medium pizza and a medium pizza. So the one medium pizza was from Berea to York Road over by me near North Royalton, right? A little bit of a drive, but okay, not too bad, right? So I take the one pizza to that one, no big deal, drop it off. The next one's in Warrensville Heights, which is like just the ghetto, basically. That's not the ghetto, but it's close. And it's far, right? And I'm like, what? There is a Papa John's closer to Warrensville Heights than the one in freaking Berea. Like, how does this algorithm work, man? So go ahead.
It's not the algorithm; it's the people ordering it, because they have the option to choose where they order it from, and they normally don't look.
And they're paying like a big ass fee to have it delivered to them way out there. That's what I was thinking that too. So I drive this thing all the way out there, right? Just irritated. I get there and and it says, and this is great too, right? So it's not a great neighborhood. And it says wait in car. That's the instructions. It doesn't say leave at door. It doesn't say meet at door. It says wait in car. So I get to the tree lawn thing, and I'm like, I text them. I'm like, I can't figure out which house is yours because, again, nobody gives a fuck about their address. Good luck finding it. They just expect you to just know. And they write back and they just say, it's the blue house. And I'm like looking, and there's like 2 blue houses right next to each other. And I'm just like, fuck. All right. So I pull in to the one that the GPS was basically telling me it was. And I said, okay, I'm here. And I'm just sitting there and nobody comes. Right. Yeah. And then eventually, about 5 minutes later, a woman comes to the door and she's like, is that pizza paid for already? Did she pay for that pizza already? And I'm like, I get out of the car and I'm like, yeah. And she's like, we already ordered some. It was taking too long. And I said, that's because she ordered it from Berea. And she's like, she ordered it from Berea. And then, she took it. She's like, well, thank you. And I'm just like, yeah. Yeah, that was ridiculous. And so I'm like really weary now of taking these double orders. The only way I can really tell is I look at the time because it has an estimate of how long they think it'll take you. Yeah. So it's like if it starts saying some craziness like, 45 minutes or something, I'm just like, I don't care how much it is, like, $20 or not. Like, no, Because I gotta drive all the way back. This thing's so stupid. Like if I took the order that I would get out in Warrensville Heights, it'd probably send me to like Erie, Pennsylvania or something before the end of the night. You know what I mean? It would just keep sending me further away from where I live.
Well, exactly. Yeah, that's what it does. Is because they'll be like, "Oh, we'll assign you one on your way back," and you're like, "Oh, okay," but then it takes you the opposite direction. Now you're 2 counties over.
Yeah, and just not near any other food thing either. Like just or at least nobody that has a deal with the company or whatever. So go ahead.
That's why I stick to the rule. If they tell me it's $8, then it can't be more than 4 miles away.
Oh, that's interesting.
Because
that doesn't seem to work with Uber Eats though, but that's good with
I mean, that's the thing is you got to decline stuff. You got to be like, nope.
Oh
nope,
yeah, I do that. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like
fed up.
I'll look at the money and I'll look at the distance and I'll be like, because then it'll be like, okay, well, if I'm getting $1 a mile, because you got to double the distance. Like you said, you got to, you know what I mean? If they say it's 5 miles away, you're like, okay, well, it's 10 miles to me because I got to come back.
Right.
So,
yeah.
So you're just like, okay, so 10 miles, I need at least $10. And if it's like, $5, I get that on DoorDash where they'll be like, pick up Cheesecake Factory at Crocker Park and take it all the way to Middleburg Heights. And it's just like, no.
Right. No.
Like, I'm not going to do that.
That's crazy. I mean, I can't order something that far away, though. I don't understand how the Elyria people get away with it, because I can't order Cheesecake Factory from where I live, right? I mean, it's just, but that is technically closer than Elyria is. I don't know. I think some people have a hack or something, because I just feel like, some of these things are ridiculous. But I agree with you. They're paying some sort of premium to get it, but they're getting their food cold. It's just stupid.
Yeah.
And then I'm sure they're going to just give me a negative review or something, be like, it took too long to get here, Right. Just be like, it's not my fault, man. You ordered this thing 1,000,000 miles away.
It's amazing how you learn, like, just from doing like delivery driving, you get to learn. You're like, oh my God, these people are all idiots. From like instructions, like you couldn't tell me it was the corner house.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like that would have been so, because I don't know if you've experienced this yet, because you've only been doing it a little bit, but you go driving, they're like, I live on such and such a street. Here's the address. Just say the address and the street name. And you're like, okay, and you're just driving down the street. And, they got little side streets jutting off the side, and all of a sudden you're like, wait a minute, these numbers first it was too low, now it's too high.
Oh,
like, did I miss this?
Yeah.
And you turn around, their driveway's on another street. And not the main street that you're on. So it's like you got to go back, and it's just like,
or you're just inside these crazy apartment complexes with these weird ass number schemes, man.
Right.
Where they're just like there's just like these ranges, and then there's like 2 ends that have different things, or they're like they go from like a high number to a low number, and then a lower number to a high number, and you're like, well, what's in between? Where? What? You know what I mean? And then you don't know if you're behind the place or in front of the place, because the way they're laid out, the GPS might take you around the back. Yeah. It's really fucking hard sometimes. And
you'll get those apartment buildings that'll have 3 entranceways, but it'll all be under the same address. So you're just like, okay, which door do I go to?
Right.
The middle, the right one, the left one.
I went to Polaris and at night, and I went in the wrong door. It's another one of these meet at door. Yeah. And some guy was there, and he's like, are you here for cosmetology? Because that's the only thing that's open. And I'm like, I have no idea. And he's like, well, it's around the other side. You're going to have to go out and go back around. I'm like, all right. And then the girl that was ordering the food was like, I'm at adult education. That's what she said. I'm at adult education. Oh, okay. Well, wherever that is, like I ain't been there before. So I just drive around Polaris Career Center until I find, but I did, but yeah, no, I've made, since I started doing this for, I don't know, Wednesday or Thursday, I've made $500.
Yeah.
So I've been driving like a fool to make $500. It's not great.
Well, you're not somebody who likes driving around all the day. You know what I mean? You're probably like, oh, let's just get this over with.
I mean, I don't mind it too much. First of all, I like being able to go into places and check them out. right? Like some of these bars and things that sometimes people order from, or some restaurants I've never been into. It's kind of interesting to go in and just see, like, is this a place I like? Is this place cool? Does this place suck? You know, what does the food smell like? You know, how's the staff and everything?
Yeah.
It's not so bad. That part of it's interesting. Doing some quick in the area runs to a place that has a decent address, easy, and not a big deal. My car the Volt is the perfect car for this. It's just pretty much all electric and small, and I just zip in and out of things, and can do like pretty much most of an evening without ever switching it to gas. So that's been pretty cool. But I went into some crazy parts of Cleveland, Denison, you know, off Clark, Martin Luther King Boulevard. I went more east than I ever went west. I never went into like North Olmsted or anything over that way. I guess they've got enough Uber Eats drivers over there. Yeah. But in terms of like getting people to go into Cleveland or East Cleveland, they give you bonuses too. They're like, at this hour, you can get an extra $3 an order if you take it within this area. And,
and you're like, and you know why they're giving the $3. You're just like, I'm not doing it.
I mean, it's just, I'm not actually too, you know how I am. I'm not too intimidated by any of that. I mean, somebody will probably rob me and shoot me dead. But that kind of thing never really bothers me too much for some reason. I never get really worried about it because I'm just kind of, I don't know, I'm oblivious to things like that. But the east side is also a mess. Like the roads are just screwy. It's like they built all that stuff in the 1800s, put cement on top of the dirt roads and said, there it is, it's done. And it's just difficult to get around. And I don't know. And, you know, you're going to deal with like bums and stuff when you're like waiting for your pizza at Little Caesars and everything that people order. And it's just like, I got to get back to like the Parma area or something.
Yeah. I don't go east of Rocky River. I rarely go into Rocky River. So,
Lakewood's not bad.
Let me ask you, well, it's not that bad. It's just there's nowhere to park.
Yeah, well, that's true.
I had to walk like 4 blocks once to get somebody their food because there was no parking spots near their house.
Yeah, some streets are bullshit because there's the cars are just going all the way down. There's nowhere to stop. Unless, again, like you said, double park, you know, stop in the middle of the road or be in somebody else's driveway or something. But you're just asking for your ticket or trouble, you know? Right. I mean, I've parked in more than one handicap spot to go take an order because there's nothing right there in front. And I'm just like, hope I'm faster than the cop. Because, you know, if I get a ticket, it makes all of this not worth it at all. Right? It takes away all of it. It's just dumb.
Yeah.
But it's not terrible. What's it?
I was going to say, let me ask you this. Have you had the experience of getting an order and then going there and being like, it's going to be a few minutes and you've had to sit and wait?
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So let me ask you this part. How many other drivers have started talking to you? Have you had that happen yet?
No, but I have been. I mean, I have been in the vicinity of other drivers pretty frequently, right? Like some of these, I will say this, you know, for people that don't know or everything, at least my experience, which is limited, the mom and pop type places or, you know, it doesn't have to be like like it can be an Indian restaurant that's just like a local restaurant, you know, or something like that, right? Chinese place. These places are doing great. Like, because people are going in and out of these places all the time doing deliveries, right? But then like the macaroni grill or whatever, like not so much. And I think what that has to do with is price. Because you can go into like these Chinese places or the Indian places or like a, you know, one of them 24-hour breakfast places or whatever. And you can get, you know, a meal for around $10, you know what I mean? But then you got places like Macaroni Grill that want to charge you $20 for macaroni and cheese. Right. And people are just like, nope, you know? So I don't do a lot of orders like that. Fast food, of course, is a big thing, but Chick-fil-A, no. Swenson's is okay for me. Wendy's is getting a big no right now. Each Wendy's I go to is slower than dog shit.
Really?
McDonald's, great. Burger King is touch and go. It's pretty much go, but it depends on which one. time of day and everything. But
I steer away from fast food as much as possible.
Well, Chipotle, for instance.
Right, I could do Chipotle.
Yeah, they got a thing that you just walk in, you grab the bag, you walk out. You know what I mean? Like most of them. So it's pretty straight. But and McDonald's is super quick, even if you have to wait in that line. Like McDonald's is just a crack outfit most of the time. Like they just got it down. Like I don't know, they're just like, here's your food, have a nice day. I mean, occasionally they'll be like, pull over there, but even then, you're not waiting that long. You know, right. But I don't know what's going on with Wendy's right now. A lot of these places, I know that they can't get enough help or whatever it is, but like you go to Dairy Queen, and Dairy Queen is another crack outfit. Like there is like a ton of people working at Dairy Queen all the time. And it's just kind of like, what's the difference? Why can Dairy Queen get people to work and, and
they're all 15.
Right. And, Steak and Shake or whatever, just they can't even be open on the weekends because they're like, we can't get people. Yeah. And it's like, I know what people are thinking. It's money. I think it's money, but I also think it has something to do with attitude or something, you know, like it's like they're working some people to death at some of these places and maybe making ice cream isn't that hard. I went up, I don't know if you've been, well, you say you don't go east of Rocky River. I went over to Broadview Road, which is over there in Seven Hills. And there used to be a Ruby Tuesday over there, and never been a fan. And they had like a salad bar and stuff. It was all right, but anyway, I went there because there was an order for a Dairy Queen. They got the craziest Dairy Queen. It is the biggest freaking thing. In fact, I'm gonna send you a picture of it right now on your phone so you can see what this thing looks like. Because it is
it's the mother of all Dairy Queens.
I mean, it's just. It's like a beacon in the night.
Yeah.
Okay, I just sent it to you. You can zoom in on it when you see it. And for people who don't know, Dairy Queen's it's like a soft serve ice cream, and it used to be they don't have it out west. It used to be a kind of like your standard ice cream stand where, you know, it would be like a smaller thing. You'd get an ice cream. Then they eventually, like in the 80s, I think it was the 80s, they got into selling food. Dick Clark would advertise the All-American meal and all this kind of thing. And you get a burger and fries and stuff. But the quality of the food wasn't so great. And then I'd say in the last 10 years or so, they've really improved their food game. And they've kind of changed their name to Chill and Grill. And now their places are like a lot bigger, you know, drive-throughs. And they've been like knocking down the stand ones and turning them into these grill and chills. And the one I just sent Donnie here is just like the biggest Dairy Queen I've ever seen.
It's bright. It's definitely bright.
It's got like a patio in front. Like,
and I'm zooming in on the patio. It looks like there's somebody staring at you as you're taking the picture.
I hope so. I hope they think I'm, that lady. She's like, what is he doing?
Yeah. What's that guy doing over there in the corner? He looks awfully suspicious.
What is he doing in Seven Hills with the giant ass Dairy Queen that we have?
Excuse me, sir. What are you doing? Well, where I come from, we call this parking.
Yes. That thing reminds me of the McDonald's in Independence. It has like 2 floors or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. Rock sign.
Right. So I did all this. I'm going to keep doing it as I'm bored, but there was like a $70 bonus if you got 30 orders done over the weekend.
Yeah.
And so I just buckled down and did those 30 orders, but it's quite a time sink because, like I said, I don't always get orders. Even during key times, it might be an hour sometimes where I don't get an order for whatever reason. And so it's not easy always to fulfill those 30 orders, especially when you're throwing a lot of orders away because you don't want to drive out to the sticks,
for $3.
Right. Yeah. I had a guy order, it said, you'll make $2.90. Go to Krispy Kreme and then go to wherever this guy lives. And I'm just like, what did he order? You know what I mean? I know he didn't tip, but what did he order? That's like, you know what I mean? Like a donut and a cup of coffee. That's the other thing. Like, it's not cheap to order from these services, right? You're paying like a service fee and a delivery fee unless you pay for the membership, but then you're paying for the membership, right?
And the tip.
And of course you're expected to tip.
If you tip.
And so, yeah, and that's another thing. Like, if you don't tip, that's why people out there, you're paying the service fee. The service fee that you're paying is to offset the fact that you don't tip, because if the order isn't being picked up, they start to add dollars to the order to make it so that somebody eventually picks it up. So they're forcing you to tip by making you pay that service fee because too many of you are cheap and not tipping. But at the same time, it's expensive. So why would you order just chocolate chip pancakes, man? When I order something from any of these things, I always get something for later. It's like, I'm going to reheat something at some point. So I'll get like a couple things because I'm not going to order shit twice. You know what I mean? It's expensive. Right. It's crazy, but no, they order the craziest shit.
That would be the only reason to like use that for me personally. That would be the only reason to use that service is if it was like, I got 4 or 5 people here I need food for right now. Yeah. Like, okay, you know what I mean? I can't leave. Okay, great. Then I guess we'll just try to get somebody to deliver something, you know?
Right. I mean, you know, or they get dispatched for like a pizza or something, you know, because some places now they're just using DoorDash instead of a pizza plate or their own drivers or whatever.
Like you were saying that earlier about Papa John's.
Yeah.
I've had orders from Marco's and stuff. And it's funny because you go in there and you're like, yeah, I'm picking up an order for DoorDash. And you just stare over at the driver standing there. It's like, you guys work here and I'm making your money.
I know.
Get out of here. It's so good.
I don't know. They get overloaded, I think, though. It's whatever. But it's now I have the I just got the credit card. So I think like what it is, right, is that normally Uber Eats has deals with these companies, right? So I don't pay for McDonald's. You know what I mean? I pull up and I'm like, I got an order for Jim. Yeah. And then they give me Jim's order. I don't give them money. DoorDash or whoever has worked out a deal with them so that there's only certain places you can go because they can't pay for the order, you know what I mean, to these other places. So now I have the credit card. So now I can go in and pick up the order and pay for it. So now it's going to give me more, supposedly, opportunities because there'll be more places to go. I just want to get bigger. I just want to get better tips.
Right.
Because I want to like drive less, get paid more. I think that's what everybody wants. Yeah. But I don't know how much I'm going to keep doing it, but I get bored. So I'll just spend my time driving around. Yeah. So enough about that. Right. I did want to talk a little bit about electric cars because if you don't have one, which most people don't, there's a lot of people out there complaining about things about electric cars because, you know, there's these mandates and things, you know, where they want people to eventually drive all electric cars, and people with gas cars are like, boo, and all this kind of thing. Probably none of that will happen before anybody listening is dead. But one thing to understand too is that the Chinese are actually the ones driving it. I think I talked about this before. They buy more cars than we do, as do the Europeans. Add to that, and China has made it so that all their cars have to be electric. So all of the auto manufacturers want the Chinese money, so they're switching all of their cars over to electric because that's where the money is, right? And yeah, they'll still make SUVs with gas engines for Americans for now, but you know, America is like 300 million people versus like 1 billion plus Chinese people. Plus you got all of Europe and probably a lot of other countries as well that are trying to clean up their greenhouse. So most of the rest of the world is all about electric cars. So one of the arguments, though, that people make that I read about a lot online when people always bring up the same things because they all watch the same stupid TV shows and have the same stupid talking points is that they're all like, my house can't support one of those charging things, and I don't have enough power, or most people don't have enough electricity to power the blah, 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 the thing. And a couple points I wanted to make about that argument. The first thing is that you can totally charge your car with a 110 volt charger. The same, plug it into the house. My car comes with a 110 charger. It's slow, but it's not super slow. Like if I plug my car in at night at 12 amp, right? You can also do 8 amp if you want. But 12 amp is what I use. And on a 110 plug it into any old outlet. And it will get me 50 miles of range before morning, right? And 50 miles for most people back and forth to work is enough, right? But the other thing about that is, like, you might be saying, like, well, I drive way more than 50 miles a day or something. Because some people do. I get it.
Yeah.
And the thing is that with these new cars, for instance, that are coming out now, that get about 300 plus miles on a charge, they charge at these charging stations in 15 minutes. So you don't have to, charge all the way up at home. You can go to a charging station, just like you go to a gas station now, charge your car up, and then go home. And then if you want to use the 110 charger, if you can, great. If you can't, you don't need to charge it at home. You can go to a charging station, just like you go to a gas station today. So, yes, I totally agree. 15 minutes is a lot longer than most of the time when you're buying gasoline, but it's not that bad. And this technology keeps improving. They've got ones now where they're talking like they can charge up the whole car to 80% in like a couple minutes. So I don't know, like I think the struggle there is more about, like, that's a lot of electricity in a short period of time. And so these actual filling stations that provide that, the cables, right, that connect the car to the thing actually have liquid coolant running through them because there's so much power going through that wire. It heats up. And so they've got to cool it down. So there's a whole plumbing process that's going on here as well in order to make that work. But that is the future. So, I mean, it's going to just be like the same thing you're doing now. You'll go to an electric station, like a gas station. You'll charge your car up in a couple minutes, and then you'll take your car back home. I know a lot of people out there are still going to balk about it and everything, but if you've never actually driven an electric car, it's pretty great. Because, like, you have, like, instant power. You don't have to worry about gear shifting. There's not that pause between pressing the gas pedal and going. It's just like you just hit it and the car just takes off and goes. And it's super great. It's something everybody should experience because it's quick and it gets you in and out of things like fast.
Yeah.
But I do understand range anxiety though. Like, I think if I were to like get rid of my cars and just have a purely electric car, I don't think there's enough charging stations, especially in Cleveland. Like, if you live in LA or something, or maybe out west, there seems to be more of them, right? Maybe in New York, right? There's a bunch of them up in Lakewood for some reason, probably because that's like the liberalist.
That's where the hipsters live.
Right. But generally, in the general area, there's not many. And most of them that are here, other than the Tesla ones that are behind sheets, the regular ones just aren't fast chargers. And so, there would be some range anxiety there. But, you can find them on a map and go do them. But I don't know. Like, my car, it's a Volt. Right. So for people who don't know, it's an unusual car. It's not really a hybrid. It runs like about 40 to 50 miles purely on electric. When you charge it up 40 or 50 miles, it doesn't matter what you're doing, highway, going up a hill, whatever. It's all battery all the way until the battery runs out. And then there's a generator in the car. And it's not like a regular engine turning the wheels and stuff. It's a generator, and it runs on gasoline. And so then the generator kicks on, and it powers the electronics in the car. But the generator doesn't run all the time. It kind of runs as demand calls for it, and then it shuts itself off. So if you're like braking, going downhill, just cruising, it'll shut itself off. And then when you need to accelerate or whatever, it just kicks right back on and starts powering the electronics again. And so it's not technically a hybrid. They call it an extended range vehicle, but it's like only one of two. It's like that one. And then they made a Cadillac SLR that's built the same way. But nobody bought it because nobody understood it, basically. And it's a compact and was kind of expensive for what it was. So people were like, nah, I like my gasoline car,
Yeah.
But at least it has like this, it takes gasoline and you can just drive it forever. And it gets like 45 miles to the gallon if you run it purely on gasoline. So it still gets great gas mileage. But if I got just a regular, like, let's say a Tesla or something, and you can get like 250 mile range or 200 mile range, I mean, that's more than enough to do like most anything. But would I be able to drive to Pittsburgh and back like that? I don't know. Not right now. And the problem with my car, with the Volt, is that it'll take about, I forget, like 30 or 40 amp. And that's the maximum that it'll take. So basically the fastest charge from 0 to 50 miles an hour is about 4 hours, right? So I can't get that 15-minute thing for the electric on mine. But, this is one of the first electric cars made. You know what I mean? Like that's just the way they did it back then. But it's still 4 hours is a long time to just sit at a charger. So, you have to have the gas engine. Now, Teslas and things, I believe they charge much, much faster than that, as long as you're at one of those supercharging stations. But I don't know that much about where all of those are. I've seen them, but I don't know like how accessible they are if you're trying to drive, just say anywhere. So I don't know. Yeah, I'm not too worried about it though. I think it's GM has a new battery tech that they say doubles the range. Could be all buzz talk. They're doing something though. So we might be seeing ones that do about 400 to 500 miles on a charge. That's kind of a lot. I mean, especially if they can make it so you can charge it in a few minutes on top of it. Yeah. I mean, that's probably enough to settle just anybody's argument about the electric car at that point. Short of course, muscle car freaks and guys with just like engines. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I mean, my car, like oil change, it's once a year, right? And I almost never have to change out the brakes because I almost never use the brakes because the car slows down, regenerating energy back to the car, and there's different levels of it. And there's like, a shifter and a paddle control that I can hit with my hand to really slow the car down almost to a stop. By switching it so it's doing like really heavy regenerative braking. So in terms of maintenance, it's super thrifty, like there's like nothing to really do with it versus a gasoline car that has all kinds of things that break down on it and all that sort of stuff. Now, again, my car is gasoline and I did have a fouled spark plug. I talked about that. So there is some bullshit that I have to deal with out of the gas engine part of it. But so far, the battery part of it has been fine, So I don't know. I just think there's some misconceptions about it. I think people, if you ever get an opportunity to rent one or whatever, just try it out. You don't have to just hate it, and you don't have to like it either. But it's okay to experience it. It's not like you're voting for it or something. It's like I said, that's basically being driven by a world market that we're in right now, and I think eventually all of the compacts are going to get switched over to electric first, and then they'll eventually do SUVs. Trucks are going to be last. I know Tesla's got the Cybertruck coming and everything, but I think people, when you take out a truck in general, like a working guy, taking his truck out, you're probably on a farm somewhere, you're driving, construction site, right? Yeah. You're hauling something. You're going to need a lot of battery, and that's a lot of weight. And so trucks, I think, are still they're going to be gasoline until we have this new battery technology that makes it more worthwhile, you know? Yeah. And that's okay. There's enough people out there with their dumb trucks driving around. You ever why is it that people have trucks and then they drive them like they're race cars? You ever notice this?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
They're just speeding like, you know, with their trucks. It's just like, dude, it's not a sports car. It's a truck. You know what I mean? Like you got an engine in it. I get it, but it's meant for like hauling horses and boats and shit. You know, it's not here to race.
That's the other thing of like driving for a delivery service is you'll start to recognize all these other little things about other drivers where you're just like, wait a minute, because you don't really pay attention to it because you're usually, you know what I mean? If it's a regular day, you're just A to B and you're done.
Right. Whereas
when you're delivery driving, you're like going to the same place and you're just like, seriously, does nobody stop for the stop sign? Or, you know what I mean? You start learning all these, you start seeing all this stuff. You're just like, what's with all the big, huge trucks, like in the small parking lots? Right. And why do you got to park backwards?
Yes. Like giant truck in the parking lot because they're going to door ding me for sure.
Right.
I have a BMW 330i. It's a 4-door sedan sports car. It's a 2019, and I bought it because I wanted something that was sporty, but also, you know, not little, I guess. So I got, you know, the 4-door thing. And it looks sporty. And fuck, man, people are always trying to race me. They're constantly trying to, like, it doesn't matter what piece of shit car they have. They're always coming up on my side and trying to vroom around me or you know, they want to go or whatever. Yeah. And if I'm going fast, they got to go faster, right? They got to be like on my right, and they got to try to pass me up so they can show off that their car is faster than my car and shit. And I'm just like, man, listen, first of all,
go ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes. And then there's people, sometimes I do take them. Because I get irritated and I gotta show them. Because it's like, look, I got, it's only a 4-cylinder, but it's twin turbo, right? And it's all electronic and it's ready to go. And if I see another car that I'm pretty sure is like a 4-cylinder with one of those stupid sports mufflers on it, you know what I mean? That's kind of low to the ground and it's all like, you know, making a bunch of noise. We're going to go and I'm going to blow his fucking socks off because, you know, they haven't probably spent any money on the actual engine. They just have all the ground effects and everything. But it's also their cars, you know, it's all shit they tweak themselves and the weight displacement's all wrong and everything. Or my car's factory and it's you know, it's designed to be fast. It goes 155 miles an hour. So, you know, I smoke these guys because of my engine size. But don't get me wrong, folks. If I come up against a car that's like an 8-cylinder or something, or even a 6 that's got a bigger engine in it, I'm not racing them. And you win. Like, congratulations. You've got a car that goes like 200 miles an hour. Yay for you. You can beat me because I've got a 4-cylinder, you know? Yeah. But these people they just want to go. They see a sporty car. They just want to race, man. And it is ridiculous. Yeah. It's so annoying. Like, it's just like, I don't know, man. I stop at a light and somebody's got to be like, ooh, and it's like, no. What do I want? Tickets my whole life? Just go away, you know? I don't know. Maybe it's a Cleveland thing or something around here. Maybe people just got to show off or something. I don't know. It's just
It's just a dickhead thing.
It is, man. Some of them just get angry because I won't go. And then they tear off and cut me off and then speed off like a maniac. And I'm just like, what? So what do I have? A bumper sticker that says "Let's go" or something? Like, I don't.
I like it when somebody gets on your tail, like gets on my tail, and then like if I'm going over the speed limit and you come up on me, I am now slowing down and going the speed limit. You know what I mean? It's like if I'm doing 40 in a 35,
right?
That's a good clip. You know what I mean? You're not. I'm not driving so slow.
Right.
You know what I mean? Yeah. I'm going 5 miles over the speed limit.
Right.
And if you come pulling up on me and you're up my ass like that, I'm taking my foot off the gas. And once the needle hits 35, I'll start hitting the gas again. People they'll drop off.
I think like, the thing I do is like, if I'm on the highway and I'm doing like 75 or 80 miles an hour, which is ridiculous. All right. When the speed limit's like 60 here. Yeah. and you're coming up on my ass, I will get over if I don't have to slow down once I get over. Because I'm not going to slow down now to fucking 65 so you can go around, you know what I mean? So you can go faster now. Because most of these assholes just want to go faster than me for like a minute. Then they end up pulling over on the right, you know what I mean? And then I end up passing them up later on down the road because they don't have the whatever it is to keep it going the whole trip, you know? I'm not saying everybody. There are some maniacs out there like me that are going to just drive 100 miles an hour down the highway and take their best shot with a cop or something. Sure. But I do most of the time drive pretty normal on side streets. I almost never go above 10 over because I've heard that cops pretty much won't stop anybody unless they go 11 or over. And I would say that has to be true. Except maybe in school zones, because I've been driving forever, and I've passed cops doing 10 over. I don't even slow down. I don't. Right. I see a cop. I'm doing 10 over. I'm doing 45 and a 35. I don't slow down, and they don't care. Like because everybody's doing it. You know, like everybody's doing it. School zones different. Plus those cameras are also set to like take a picture 12 or 13 miles over, something like that. So they're not going to bust me either. So that's just pretty much common for me to go 10 over. But it depends on the road, too. In Cleveland, half the roads are probably like cities in the Ukraine right now, like with bomb craters in them, just torn to shambles. It's like you got to drive slow because your car is going to get destroyed on some of these roads. And some roads, they're just made out of bricks. I don't quite understand the whole brick thing. I think it was built in the 1800s, and they're just like, cars can drive on bricks. Just leave it brick. Like, how do they even service a brick road? Does some guy come out? You used to work in bricks. Did somebody go out there with some cement and some fresh bricks and put a fresh brick in when there's a broken brick?
There's no cement in the brick roads. It's all brick roads. It's just they pack them in there. Yeah. Well, they usually use like a sand. Because you'll level out your ground and then they pour sand down, and then you basically hammer the bricks into the sand. And then the sand, when the sand expands from you know what I mean, like underneath the brick, the sand compacts, so it becomes more solid, and then everything on the side like spreads. You know what I mean, in between the bricks to kind of fill it up.
It's enjoyable to drive on that. It's not at all. It's a bumpy nightmare. And I don't know how snowplows handle that because they're usually scraping the ground and they're probably like, just smashing into bricks constantly or something. They're
like, oh, you got a brick road? It's like, yeah, have fun digging yourself out because we're not coming through.
For real. It's those are another thing that are all over Cleveland and also in some neighborhoods. And it's just, I don't know, man. But anyway, enough about that. I have one more topic before we run out of time.
Oh, okay.
So the Deshaun Watson, or however you say his name.
Deshaun
Watson. Sorry.
Yeah.
Browns quarterback.
Finally said something.
Yeah. Six game suspension.
Yeah.
Now I don't watch football really. I mean, if the Browns were
you're a casual fan.
If the Browns were to go into the playoffs, right, I would watch that. Maybe I'd watch them play the Steelers, maybe, but I have no real interest in watching football at all. Even when I'm playing fantasy football, I don't really watch any of the games. I just look at the stats and do it that way. Because I just don't have any real interest in the game. But that being said, this was a weird maneuver by the Browns as far as I'm concerned. Baker Mayfield was supposedly going to be our guy. He got injured. He played through part of his injury, right? Didn't play well. And he's had some games where he did really good in the beginning, but he also had a tendency to, I think, throw a fair number of interceptions.
Right.
Whether, when you're talking about quarterbacks and the Browns, there's a lot going on with your line, and how much protection that quarterback's getting. And are your wide receivers, open? All this kind of shit. So like I said, I don't watch it, so I have no way to say one way or the other if the guy got a fair shake. But I thought what they did to him was bullshit, which was basically, they didn't tell him. They made this deal to get this guy, and they and the thing that irritates me about it is this guy was accused of like 25 different women or something.
Yeah,
that he didn't rape them, but he had inappropriate sexual contact.
Right.
That's probably the best way to put it.
They were all masseuses, and they were all
sort of, right? He found people on like Instagram or something and asked them to give him a massage. That's what I read. And some of them probably were professional masseuses, but I'm just saying, like, some of them I think were just people that were like, he probably offered them some type of money, right? And they were probably like, I mean, if somebody said to me, "Hey, you want to give me a massage?" I'd be like, "No." And then they'd be like, "Well, what if I gave you like $3,000?" I'd be like, "Well, what time?"
Yeah, right. What kind of massage are we talking about?
Right. I'm not that interested, but I mean, if you're going to pay me like that, you know what I mean? So I get it. Like, I get it. So, and I don't know all the details because, part of this thing right now is like, first of all, he definitely got these massages. That's without a doubt. I mean, we all know that's fact. And in fact, the organization he was with previously even helped arrange that he would have them at the facilities and all of this kind of stuff. And the question marks become, when he obviously comes on to them. That's the best way I can think of it. Is he exposing himself? Is he just asking for sexual favors? Is he apparently none of them said that he put their hands on them, from what I've heard. So there was nothing forced going on here, but there was a lot of this inappropriate allegations, and all of them took the money, and they come out and accuse him. And this is this thing, where, listen, you've seen this happen now with lots of celebrities, good and bad, right? Where these women come out and they say, I was involved in this, etc. And in almost every situation, these women are getting payouts, and some of these payouts are big. I mean, there's big money you're talking about, saying that something like this happened, and you're walking out with, 6 figures, maybe 7 figures.
Oh yeah.
To not go take this person to court for making an accusation. So why wouldn't you make an accusation? You know what I mean? Right. If somebody's just coming on to you, but you're just sitting there and you're just like, well, he came on to me and I didn't really think about it because, he was just being fresh, but he did. And how much money are we talking about? You know what I mean?
Right.
Like now I'm not saying what he did was right. I'm just saying, like, because of the money, it makes it so it's hard to really know the truth, and yet you keep having this constant situation. And I don't know. I feel like if you put yourself into that situation like he did, he definitely was doing something, inappropriate, and he's paying the price for it. But I don't think it is to the extent of like Bill Cosby or Weinstein,
Louis C.K.
Right. And this is more like some guy trying to hook up in the worst way possible, kind of thing. Like, yeah, Louis C.K. actually not so bad. I mean,
he asked if he could take his wiener out.
Right. It was inappropriate. And but the idea that this guy wielded power over them, I don't really feel that that's what happened here. You know what I mean? I just think it was probably awkward for these women. And but to walk away feeling like they were violated in some way, it's like you did agree to it. You know what I mean? Like you have to take some blame in this, and I'm not victim blaming, because I mean Louis C.K. again, inappropriate, shouldn't have done it. Basically, if you don't know, he just asked women if he could masturbate in front of them, and not on them or anything. I think they sat across the room from him, and I don't even know if he exposed himself to them or he was behind a desk or whatever. But yeah, and maybe he did. I don't know. But my point is that if you say okay, I mean, I don't know, man. You know what I mean? Like I don't know. It just seems to me like, do you really think he's going to ruin your career because you said no or something? You know what I mean? Like, I guess maybe, but can he ruin your career? Is Louis C.K. that powerful? Like, it's just things like that. And then when it comes out, then people are like, oh, he did that to me and stuff. And really, it just seemed like a sexual quirk. It just seemed like a kink. You know what I mean? He went up to somebody that he was attracted to, and he was just like, hey, you want to do this kinky thing? And they were like, okay. You know what I mean? And then later they're like, yeah, that was weird. So, yeah, I think I was violated. It's like, I don't agree. I don't agree. I wasn't there, but based on the, what everybody's saying, it doesn't rise to the same thing as like drugging somebody like Cosby did. You know what I mean? Supposedly. Although he was found guilty of it. So he did, I guess. Or like Weinstein, using his power and promises in order to give them some career versus in order for him to sleep with them. That's total bullshit. And on his case, and you know what I mean? Like he's wrong. But, to me, Louis C.K. just had a kink, and he went with people that he was working with or around professionally. But I mean, how many of us have all dated somebody we've worked with? You know what I mean? Or something like that's just common, but it's just that he had an unusual kink and, it's out there, but I don't know. I don't see Louis C.K. as being that bad of a thing. I just think that's just my opinion. Everybody's got their own opinion.
Your opinion sucks.
Yeah. But,
yeah, it's the Browns just put him in it's stupid.
But they scoped his contract. They scoped his contract around the fact that his first year, because what are they paying him? Like $200 million? It was something crazy, some high.
$240 million.
Yeah, $240 million. But the first year, the Browns were like, we're only going to pay you $1 million, and that's because when you get fined or you get suspended, whatever, it's going to be based on that first year's salary. So you're not going to have to pay very much. That's fucking wrong. You know what I mean? Because what that's saying is that when he's found guilty of something, right, we're going to cover it for you.
We're going to help you. We're going to help try to make it as easy as possible.
Yeah. We're going to try and help you get around it because you're guilty. Because if he wasn't guilty, there wouldn't be a fine and there wouldn't be a suspension, right?
Well,
I mean, there's the public opinion thing, but in general, the Browns,
you would think if there's no penalty towards the person who's being accused of something, then he should be okay,
right? And the other thing is this guy, okay, he didn't play last year because he was like in a contract dispute. So he took a whole year out, right? Mm-hmm. And we gave this guy a shitload of money to come over to play on this team now after all of this stress and politics around him. Do you think this guy's going to play great? I don't. I mean, he might be a good player, but with the way the Browns are and our curse of a team,
right? I
just don't think I would not be surprised 3 games in, this guy's injured. He hasn't played in a year. He's going to have a torn ACL.
Right.
and Baker Mayfield's going to be laughing his ass off in Carolina. Because we made, a horrible mistake. I mean, the injuries in football are crazy. And if you take a year off, man, I don't know. I just don't have a lot. You get a couple years older now. Is he going to be any good? I mean, what do you personally think? I mean,
you would like to think that he is going to be, but because of the fact that I've been a Browns fan my whole life,
right.
I'm of the thinking of we're doomed from the very beginning. I was just like, from the very beginning, I was like, why are we doing this? We're fine. We were on a good trajectory. We're on a good path, and it's like, yeah, the dude is like an MVP level player,
right?
But he hasn't, like you said, he hasn't played,
right?
And now he's got all this other distractions and stuff,
right?
And it's like, I mean, it didn't affect Ben Roethlisberger when he was accused of raping people, and it didn't really.
But I think a lot of this has to do with greatness like Roethlisberger and other players. It has to do with longevity. Like, they play great and everything, but everybody has years that they're like so. They didn't go to the Super Bowl this year. You know what I mean? They make it to the playoffs, they got knocked out in the first round or something. This happens to a lot of players. There's not a bunch of Tom Brady's walking around out there.
Nope.
So, but you'll get institutions that'll stick with their quarterback and try and work him to give them experience to make them better players. You know what I mean? Now, listen, you get injured and maybe it's a debilitating injury. There's nothing you can do about it. Okay, I get that. That guy's got to go. But I think that the Browns are often way too quick to constantly blame the quarterback and move it out. I think Baker Mayfield might turn into be a really great quarterback. I mean,
that's what I keep saying.
It's like he just needed some more experience and less stress on, because this team, there's being built around him, and it wasn't great. And then he was injured, and then they're just like, oh, let's get rid of him and we'll get this other guy who's an all-star, but he hasn't played. So I don't know. I think it was, and it's a lot of money. They already had Mayfield. They had him. I mean, he was under contract and he was not expensive. They could have bought a whole lot of better players for that same amount of money to put around Mayfield. But instead they put it all on this quarterback. Sometimes I just really feel like they're purposely trying to fuck the Browns up to move the damn team out of Cleveland because nobody here is going to want him anymore. But this town is so crazy about football that we just keep taking shovels of shit constantly and not caring.
That's what we like.
I don't know. They're talking about moving, just real quick, they're talking about moving the stadium. Have you heard about that?
No.
They're contractually,
what stadium?
Well, the Brown Stadium. They're not going to pick up the stadium and move it. They're going to build a new one, but they're contractually obligated to build out this whole connecting bridge and restaurants and all this sort of stuff that's connecting to it. But they've been looking at other sites to potentially build a new stadium in Cleveland still, but in a different location than where this one currently is at, and with a dome on it. And so now, what's his face? Haslam family came back and basically said, we had to look at these other sites as part of, our due diligence. We're staying where we're at, and all this kind of stuff. But, come on.
Lies.
Right. They were just looking at it and they're making considerations because the facility is getting, it's not old by Cleveland standards, but I guess by stadium standards, it's starting to get a little old. And I guess comparatively to some of these teams like Dallas and things that spend a ridiculous amount of money on their stadiums, ours is maybe becoming dated in that sense. And so I think, and again, these billionaires, they don't pay for it. I mean, they'll just be like, we're going to do this and there's going to be a sin tax. And let's vote on it, and it always passes because everybody's like, what do you want to do? Get rid of football?
Yeah, right. What are we supposed to do?
Okay, it's bullshit. You got to vote. We keep the Browns in Cleveland. I'll pay an extra $1 a beer, and so we'll see. I don't know. I mean, it won't happen for quite a long time. But if it does happen within the next 10 years or something, or they start talking about it, I just won't be surprised. It's sports complexes and everything. It wouldn't be unusual. But anyway, we're way over. Thanks. Thanks, everybody, for listening. Thanks for our Patreon people for helping us out and keeping this show going. We love all of you guys. And maybe next week we'll look in the email bag, oblast@vgn.us, and we'll see if there's anything in there for us to read off if I remember. But that's it for this week. Peace.
Peace.
You've been listening to Oblast with Don and Kevin. If you'd like to write into the show, send an email to oblast@vgn.us. That is VGN as in video game news. And be sure to check out our Patreon page, which is at patreon.com/VGN, where you can get all of our shows, our videos, and some musings. Be sure to tune in each week for new episodes on our Patreon page or every other week on the public RSS feed that you're subscribed to now. Thanks for listening, and good night.
Peace.